There's a.
Oh,
Oh.
Alright.
who's this?
Oh,
Hello.
is this on? We live streaming this now?
What's going on, man? It's been a while since you abandoned us.
I did not abandon you. I abandoned Eastern society to move to a brighter future on the West Coast.
Whoa, what's wrong with Eastern culture?
You don't allow legal meth.
It's true. Yeah.
Well, also, yeah, I can't go to the dispensary in PA.
You can.
Can in Jersey soon.
Yeah, well, I don't want to drive to Jersey. I like just walking down the block.
You know, I think paying $5 to go over the Ben Franklin's a lot cheaper than moving across the country. But
I got options, bro. Hey, when they start charging you like $45, $50 for a gram,
Ooh.
when I drove through, I think it was like Iowa. They had like recreational marijuana allowed, but it was like $75 for like an eighth of really shitty weed.
Holy shit.
75 for an eighth?
Yes, so unless you
double
get your
what I pay.
your prices, yeah, exactly. So right now I can buy an eighth for $5 if I really wanted to. Really shitty weed.
Well, that's not bad.
Right now, I am sponsored by Applegate Valley, Oregon, with their Pineapple Tonic CBD concentrate.
You heard it here first. Our first ever sponsor.
Yeah, I wish. I'm a plug.
So, you're the first guest we ever had on this.
I know. I feel very honored. I'm
You should be.
a big fan since the beginning.
It's a little awkward if you weren't.
Yeah, I just been telling you I've been watching your videos and just haven't been.
Oh.
That would have really screwed myself over. I took notes for this.
So, I've been meaning to tell you guys something before we start. One, I finally got around to editing the Freddy Got Fingered episode.
Oh, good.
And yes, I did put in the horse scene. Episode
sure.
11, Birdemic Shock and Terror.
Oof.
2010.
A romantic thriller.
Came out in 2010, has a solid 1.8 out of 10 on IMDb, and a less than $10,000 budget. Believe it or not. Oh, you go?
Which I watched that documentary, the Vice documentary episode about it this morning. It was all self-financed by the director.
Yeah.
Which is, yeah, $10,000.
Yeah, why not? Believe it or not, this movie was actually inspired by Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds.
What?
Yeah.
You kidding me? I don't know if you guys noticed this, but in the credits it says Tippi Hedren's in this movie. And Tippi Hedren is the main actress in The Birds.
Maybe it's someone that just. Who would it have been then? The mom?
No. Okay, in one of the scenes, when Rod and Natalie are about to fuck in the motel room, on the TV there's a movie playing, and it is Tippi Hedren on the TV.
And so she was credited?
She was credited. But the best part is, you'd think it'd be from The Birds, right? It's not from The Birds. It's from another movie.
Because I just saw that screen going on, like in the back.
Mm-hmm. So this movie has some anti-war statements inspired by Apocalypse Now, and as production went on, it became more and more inspired by Al Gore's An Inconvenient Truth.
Yeah. They even straight up reference it in the movie.
They do?
Yeah. That was a good movie. An Inconvenient Truth.
Oh. I must not have been paying attention.
Yeah, what a good date movie. Fucking Al Gore movie.
The crew also did not get permits to film at locations and would just show up and frequently get kicked out.
I completely believe that.
One time they filmed on like a hiking trail, and the director would yell at joggers who got in the shot. So Whitney Moore, like the main actress, told him not to yell at people who don't work on the set, so he didn't talk to her for 3 weeks. And also, when promoting the movie from his van at some indie film festival, he handed out signs saying Birdemic.com because he misspelled his own
that was in the documentary.
He
was driving a car. covered in like fake dead birds and blood with the sound effects of the birds just blaring on the speakers, and on the side it said Birdemic on the side of the car.
And he also handed out little signs saying, "Why did the eagles and vultures attacked?" And of course, a sequel came out in 2013.
Which I have not seen because I have no interest.
Wasn't he inspired by like the Sundance Film Festival out in Utah?
Yeah, that's where he handed out the stuff.
Flyers in his car.
Exactly.
I knew that street where he was doing that. I walked those streets.
So, before we get into the plot, I feel bad for recommending this movie because 3 choice words come to mind the entire time that I was watching this movie. And those words were Ilahi Lama Sabachthani. Now,
excuse me?
Yeah. Those are very famous words because Jesus said them on the cross, and it translates to, "My God, why have you forsaken me?"
I had 4 words come to mind, and that was science class home video project. That's 5.
Mine was ba ba da ba ba.
No.
That fucking the most boring song ever.
Terrible. All right, why don't we start getting into the plot?
Okay, well, it starts. Speaking of the song I was thinking of, it starts with almost 4.5 straight minutes of credits with the most boring music ever.
In a first-person view of a car driving down a road.
It's just driving. It's just a guy with a camera in his car driving.
Yeah.
And then after he's done driving, he walks out of his car into a diner, and even though he's walking on concrete, it sounds like he's walking on like dead leaves or like ice. It's like this loud crunching noise. It's very odd. And then he goes into a diner, and oddly enough, this first scene has like the worst editing in the whole movie. It's like the audio is completely off, and it's like very abrupt cuts. It's like garbage. I don't know what he was doing. Maybe he was practicing.
It was the worst sound design I've ever heard.
Hi.
Here is the menu.
Thank you.
I'll be right back with you.
Yeah. If you want to show someone an example of bad sound design, you show them that. That's what it's.
One of the reasons for the bad sound design was because he didn't have a sound crew. The actors would like hold microphones in between their legs when they're sitting, and they'd hold them like underneath the counters where they're standing.
I saw in the documentary they show the computer he worked it on, and he's still on XP.
Oh no.
In like 2010. I'm like, oh my god, you're still on XP. It looked.
It felt like it was in the 90s or something.
Yeah, God. And then yeah, he's in the diner, and he sits down. He immediately starts creeping on this attractive girl, which normally in these movies, the leading women are usually not attractive, but she actually managed to get an attractive girl this time. Good for them. Because usually it's like, if you're not attractive and you can't act, why did you pick them? At least have one of those 2 things. So they got at least one of them, which is good. And so yeah, he creeps on this girl in the diner, and then she leaves, and he immediately gets up and follows her, and then follows her to her car. Which I don't know. I'm not a woman, but that would scare the shit out of me.
You know, man, sometimes you just gotta shoot your shot.
Hey, man, he totally remembered her from high school, and she
didn't remember him.
Yeah.
I remember you. You sat in my English class.
I stared behind you 2 seats back. Look,
Yeah, sniffed your chair once class was over. Yeah, and he's like, yeah, I remember you from high school, and she doesn't remember him. He's like really creepy, and he's like, okay, bye. He's like, bye. And then she's walking away, and then he follows after her again. He's like, I should contact you. And then she gives him her card. And he gives him her card. Or whatever, you know what I mean. And then it cuts to him in his house, and he's fucking watching a news report that's reporting about climate change, but the news reporter's like in the bottom right corner of the screen, like barely in it.
Yeah, with mentioning flocks of dead seagulls and crows.
Foreshadowing. Then it goes to him driving his car again, and it does the driving his car theme. And that's what I call it. And it's just a whole scene of him fucking driving again. They fucking love, even though this is a very environmentalist movie, I'd say probably half of the movie is just them driving in cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually. What was that? What was that one movie where it all just takes place in one car?
That came out recently.
Yeah.
I know what movie you're talking about. It has Tom Hardy.
I don't remember the name.
I saw the trailer for that. It actually looked interesting.
It was
but
terrible.
I didn't watch it.
It's not that horror.
Really?
Movie that has, like a Lyft driver or something.
No, it's like he's like something. He's talking on the phone in the car the whole time.
Oh.
A horror movie with a Lyft driver?
Yeah, it's like this dude's like a Lyft driver, and he's like a serial killer, and he just picks people up, and he's like live streaming him like fucking with these people when he's like driving them around. I saw it like during Halloween time, the trailer. Maybe that's something you should
That
review
sounds
soon.
interesting.
It does sound interesting.
It looks like it was like one of the older guys from like Stranger Things was in it or something.
One of the kids?
No, like you know the older kid that was like hanging out with the litter kid that worked.
I only saw the first season.
Oh,
So
but, yeah, he was in the first season.
they what's it called? After he drives.
Oh, wait, no, we forgot something. The scariest thing in the movie appears, and it's the gas prices while he's driving, and it's $4.59 per gallon for regular.
Jesus.
That's fucking horrifying. I don't know if that's how much it actually cost in California during 2010, or if they like changed it, make some sort of message about environmentalism. I don't know. Almost fucking $5 a gallon. I'd shoot myself. I would walk everywhere.
I bet it was real because, like you said, like they just kind of came up and just filmed the scenes. I don't think the gas can be like, "Hey, can I change your gas prices for like 30 minutes?"
Well, unless he just didn't ask.
I like that idea. Yeah. And then once again, he gets out of his car after like, I didn't time this time, but after a scene of him driving, and then him walking. Done driving, he's walking now. And then he goes into his office, and then immediately cuts to him making this huge sale for $1 million over the phone. And then it cuts back to Natalie, and she's modeling in a 1-hour photo. And then after the photo shoot, Natalie's agent says Victoria's Secret wants her to be a cover girl, which I don't know much about modeling, but I don't think you'd be modeling in a 1-hour photo and then go to Victoria's Secret.
Hey man, she might be talented.
You're right. She might. Well, I mean, judging by this movie, she's not a very good actress.
Well, good thing you don't need to talk to model.
That's true. You just have to look pretty. And then after that, Rod calls her just to brag about his big sale, and he's like, "Oh yeah, how about I ask you out too?" And she says yes, and he says, "I know this really good Vietnamese restaurant." Not Vietnamese, Vietnamese. And then there's like a montage of like this of the inside of the restaurant. Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed by this point, but this movie is extremely drawn out.
Yeah, the first.
It's like an hour and 45 minutes.
The birds don't show up until 47 minutes in, and at this point, we're probably like 20 minutes in. And
yeah.
I think I can speak for all of us when I say the remaining time between what we're talking about and until the birds show up is just them going on several boring dates, talking about work.
This is a romantic thriller. That's how Wynn describes it.
No way.
Yeah, it's described as a romantic thriller, and he actually trademarked the term, if I remember correctly.
So yeah, they go on their date, they talk about work, and once the date's over, Natalie, or Natasha, whatever, goes to go see her mom, and of course, she talks about work and her new boyfriend. She decides to invite her friends on a double date, which, as per usual, was extremely uneventful.
I just want to address something on the friends prior to like the double date when they're having their own kind of awkward sex scene, or
yeah.
Well, a girl, like, you know how there's that banner in the back when they're having
Imagine Peace.
.com. Like, what was with that? Because like she throughout the entire film, that friend, she wears a shirt with
Okay,
Imagine
so
Peace.
I actually have the answer to that.
Oh, thank you.
According to it was on TV Tropes. I was researching this. ImaginePeace.com is Yoko Ono's website, and he was wanting to make this couple. I forget the guy's name, her name,
John Lennon.
like John and Oko, like basically like
I think it's
references to them. So that's why, and with later in the movie with spoilers, they're dead. They kind of play like a ripoff of Imagine.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't fucking. The director is a crazy person. I don't get it.
There is much John and Yoko as Jen.
I mean, it's a white guy and an Asian, I guess. John. Oh yeah. So the friend, they're having a sex scene in the motel room for some reason. No one has sex in their actual house. They have sex in motel rooms in this universe. And she's wearing not a bra and panties, but she's wearing a bikini, like a bright orange bikini. I'm pretty sure that motel room is the same motel room they use later in the movie too.
Hey man, $10,000 only gets you so far.
Yeah.
They probably filmed the scenes right after the other and rented the room for 30 minutes.
And also, I didn't find anything to confirm this, but I think Natalie's mom, I think that's just her straight up real mom.
Yeah.
Either that she's the best actress in the movie. At one point, she like talks about being retired later in the movie, and it just sounds like someone just saying like their actual like talking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why with the mom, but she always looked like she was green screened into me. Like her shape or something. I don't know. She just always. I know she was in the room, but she didn't feel right. Is the lighting or something? I don't know.
Yeah, and then Rod, the next scene, is playing basketball with his boy, the John, of the John and Oko. They're like, "Oh, sure, it's hot for winter. There's a heat wave." And then he talks about Rod talks about his girlfriend, and he's like, and then his friend says, "Have you had sex with her yet?" And he's like, "No." And then he goes, "A day without sex is a day wasted," which I think is a great line from this character. Then the next scene is just this guy comes to Rod's house and installs solar panels, and that's the end of the scene.
Yeah, a lot of very pointless scenes in this.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if you wanted to give something to that scene was he then starts selling solar panels for a living too. He's like, oh, this guy just sold this thing for so much. I'm gonna start selling solar panels now too.
Yeah, he undercut him.
Startup.
Yeah. So, which I didn't mention this earlier. But I watched the documentary. Like I thought, like this guy was like a big environmentalist and he really cared about the environment and stuff. But it turns out his real passion is just to be a famous movie director and doesn't really seem to care about the environment that much.
Make big famous American Hollywood movie.
Basically, he did drive a Prius though. So I was like, that makes sense.
That's so brave.
So then it's the date with Rod and Natalie, and he's waiting outside of the Vietnamese restaurant holding a rose. And then while on the very boring date, it's he says, "I like sales. It matches my personality." And she's like, "Yep, you seem very boring, so that makes sense." Then Natalie goes, I like to spend time with Alex," and then he gets like very oddly jealous. She's like, "Come on." She's like, "I have a picture of him on my wall." He's like, "Come on, show me the picture. Show it to me now."
Is he your boyfriend?
Is your boyfriend? And it's just a cat.
Yeah, he is cute.
Never get that.
No, he goes, "You like cats? You gotta be kidding." Then they go on a walk, and it's the first appearance of the gift birds.
Oh shit.
It's a bunch of parrots floating next to a tree. Yeah, and then Natalie goes to see her mom. Now the next scene is the corporate meeting where I forget what the boss says, but he's like, "You all got your bonuses."
He said the company was bought for $1 billion.
Yeah, and they all just start clapping, and every time they cut, it's very clearly a different time when they were clapping. It was just very like, oh my god.
Were those actors, or were that when those people like actual bosses, like in their company or something that they went to?
Who the fuck knows? Went to some office building. He's like, "I'll give you $100 if you just let me film you do a fake meeting."
See, I don't think
it was his actual boss.
I don't think that was in the budget. I'd like to think he didn't even ask and just showed up and had hidden cameras in a meeting.
I think you might be right, actually.
Maybe his boss was like, "Yeah, it's so fine. Don't worry. Actually, when we're done doing the meeting, just pack up your stuff and you're fired."
He's like, "Yeah, I'll pay you after we film," and then he just left. And after that is the double date, and then they go see An Inconvenient Truth, which is for some reason playing in theaters in 2010. The girl is also wearing an Imagined Peace T-shirt, further echoing the John and Oko comparison.
I thought during the movie that it was like her own website or something.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, she's like, "I'll only be in this movie if you let me throw my brand or website out."
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was like a thing with like the environmental thing. Maybe it's like, oh, like maybe it's like a website for like an environmental charity, but it's just Yoko's website.
Yeah, it's Yoko Ono's very, very ugly, dated-looking website. I'm looking at it right now. Oh yeah, then the John and Oko go, "We have to leave. We have some work to do, some sensual work." And they leave, and they're not seen until they're dead later in the movie.
Spoilers. What the?
Then Rod does a very interesting and not at all boring presentation about solar panels
For a long time.
for a long fucking time. Then Rod and Natalie go on a date to a pumpkin festival. Which, do you know the term "shoot the rodeo"?
No.
Okay, well, it's a term that's associated with low budget movies. It's like when there's like an event going on in the town they're at, they just go and film it and make that a scene.
Oh yeah.
And that's what I think they did in this situation.
They definitely did.
Yeah, they just went to this pumpkin festival, it's Moon Bay or whatever it's called. And then my favorite line of the movie is here. They look at this picture of a sun and moon, and he goes, "Oh, lovers on the moon." And she goes, "Yeah."
Like it's a famous painting.
I don't know.
I have not a clue.
I just kept saying that last night after I watched the movie. "Oh, lovers on the moon." Then they go to the beach, and I bet you, like he was like, imagine it was like meant to be like a nice sunny day when they're filming, but it looked incredibly shitty. It was like really overcast and windy, and you can barely understand them because like the wind is so strong. And then they find a dead gift eagle just on the ground. And then Natalie's first instinct is to pick it up, and then Rod goes, "No, stop! Don't touch it! It could be infectious." And then they go to and she takes him to her mom's. And then they meet. And then the mom talks about being retired. They go to a restaurant. You can barely hear them because of the background noise.
Yeah.
And then Natalie goes, "I like you because you don't just want me for sex."
I think that's when they had the mics in between their legs.
Yeah. Like, yeah, Natalie has really high, like a high bar for her boyfriend. Like, yeah, you don't want to just have me. I'm not just some sort of flesh tube to have sex with. You're the one, clearly. Also, they're the only ones in the restaurant, which I thought was funny.
Yeah. And let's not talk about the dance scene. I'm sick of the fucking musicals.
You're
We're at the party.
No, it's just hanging out.
No.
Hanging out. Hanging out with the family. Which it's so funny. That's like the song is about literally hanging out with your actual family, which is like the least sexy thing ever, hopefully, unless you're from Alabama.
Yeah, I heard him start singing and I saw them dance, I said nope, and I stood up, made myself a cup of coffee. And by the time I got
You missed the
back,
best song of all time, though.
oh no, I unfortunately
I
listened
turned it
to
up.
it.
I turned that shit up. I grabbed my cat, and we were dancing. We were hanging out as a family.
Aw. I'm sure Shadow loved that.
That's
And then right after that, they go to a motel to fuck. And she's not actually wearing a bathing suit. She's actually wearing some bras and panties.
And they have a really bad kissing session.
Oh, I want to make note of something I noticed during this scene. Around like 45 minutes in, like when they're like panning back out and like it's going down, she has the dirtiest fucking.
I was
feet.
just about to say that. Her feet are filthy.
Her
Looks
feet?
like she's just been like, yeah, her feet. I thought it was his, but it's hers. If you look.
No,
at
yeah,
it,
her
it's
feet are
right on
disgusting looking.
it. Yeah, it looks like she's just been like walking around in cigarette ash and coal. Like they just had her naked on set for longer than that actual scene was. Like she just had to be barefoot that entire time.
I'm
And
glad I
her
wasn't the only one who noticed.
Yeah.
I didn't notice.
Oh.
Well,
yeah,
you need to be looking at them toes, boy.
No.
I get that Tarantino fetish vibe going. His feet.
Yeah, and then they make out, and then it cuts to black, and then it immediately. Oh no, it has like some like calm scenes of the locations they've been at the beach and the town. Then immediately cuts to, like eagles dive bombing and exploding.
This is when I think the movie actually begins.
45 minutes in. Jesus.
Yeah, skip the first 45 minutes. Well, skip the first 44 minutes and 45 seconds if you want to see some dirty feet.
Yeah, get the feet, get the birds, get going.
Oh yeah, in the documentary they show how he makes the gift birds. You want to know how?
Yes.
He has some pre-made assets that he just drags on in Windows Movie Maker and just places, and he can resize them.
I don't.
It's exactly what you think.
I don't believe you.
No, it's new, innovative genius. There's more to it than that. I heard
It's exactly how you thought it would be.
No, actually, aside, he shadowed under Ghibli for a month.
Under Miyazaki.
Yeah. Miyazaki was like, "You got talent, son. I'm gonna give you a crash course in this shit."
Here, I'm gonna. Oh shit, that was the wrong server. Oh well.
No.
Okay, that's the video I was watching.
Put that in the JoJo's chat.
Yeah, and yeah, the people who are interested in JoJo's like, why is there this Vice documentary about this weird psychotic Vietnamese director?
Well, it is bizarre.
It is bizarre. Yeah, the eagles, like, they die, like, they only have, like, 2 noises that they can constantly play, and it's very annoying.
He changes, like, the pitch a little bit, or, like, the speed every once in a while. But...
Yeah, but it's very shrill and loud, and very annoying.
The birds make plane diving sound effects before they explode whatever they hit.
It's pretty amazing, and it's definitely the highlight of the movie. Oh yeah, Rod, when he wakes up from the birds exploding, he still has his pants on. So either he had sex, like, through the zipper, or he immediately put his jeans back on to go to sleep.
You could assume at some time had passed. You assuming that he just comes and the birds just come?
Well, no, it was the morning after, so they went to sleep, I assume. The birds woke him up. And then, yeah, Natalie goes to the window and says, "I think they're eagles." And he immediately goes, "Let's barricade the window with the bed." And then after a while, the eagles stop attacking the window. They go to another motel room, and they find another couple. And the couple is like, "Oh my god, I have a van. Let's escape to my van."
Quick, grab these coat hangers to fend off.
For protection.
Well, luckily they escaped to the van, and even more luckily, there's a fully automatic rifle. And
Yeah, I'm not a gun person, but we more are. Can you tell me what kind of gun that was that person had in his car for some reason?
Yeah, it was a fake gun.
I'm just saying, I think that couple was up to something. Like, I think they were about to go like shoot up the school.
No, they do explain it later in the movie why he has guns.
Well, he said he was like a vet or something, but
Yeah, he was in the Marines.
Yeah, they didn't explain why he has his guns in the car. Like,
Road
they
rage.
looked like they could have been going to like, yeah, exactly, shoot up the place.
It would have been really funny. It's like, fuck, I was gonna shoot up a school, but birds attacked and killed all the children before I could.
Kind of what it
Damn
felt
it.
like. He seemed really high strung. Like, so here, like, this is a little farther in the movie, but when they get to double decker bus and they're like trying to save those people do not want to leave the bus.
Yeah, and he like pulls them out.
Which furthers my claim that this guy is super unwound and might have shot up that bus prior to the birds attacking.
I think you're right. Also, it's the only cursing in the movie too. Was like later before that scene. I guess we'll talk to it when we get to
Say,
that
like,
part.
the movie was originally about, it wasn't about climate change, but about the war or something.
Yeah, it had anti-war sentiments to it.
Well, that would tie it all more together if you have this more like this
See,
sub story of this unstrung out set and stuff.
it would also tie in more to the director's life because he was an immigrant from Vietnam after the fall of Saigon when North Vietnam invaded South Vietnam.
Jesus Christ.
So I feel like the anti-war message could have been something he would be able to write about either. Also, he based the character of Rod off his own life because he was also a software salesman.
After they escape, why don't you describe this scene? Because it's my favorite scene in the whole movie.
After they escaped to the car.
Yes.
Where was I? Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. They start driving away and start shooting out of the car with like an assault rifle, and eventually they stop by some abandoned cars by the side of the road. And even though it's meant to be like a post-apocalypse, you could still clearly hear cars driving in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And then they find a little girl underneath one of the cars.
With a lot of dead bodies around.
Yeah, with a lot of dead bodies. And this girl is the worst actress I've ever seen. I get she's a kid, but she fucking sucks.
So, and they also find a little boy in the trunk of one of the cars, and they take them and rescue them. Now,
Yes.
let me explain why this is my favorite scene. I'd like you to imagine something for me. Ready?
Okay.
These people, this crew, likely does not have a permit or anything to be there. If a police officer drove by, they would see multiple cars with corpses on the side of the road and men with guns dragging children into a black van.
Oh,
my god.
that would be very funny.
That van looks. Whose car was that? That van was so rusty and sketched out. And like you're talking about fuel economy, that thing looks like a total gas guzzler.
But yeah, that's why it's my favorite scene, from an outside point of view.
Yeah, I just love that you can hear cars in the background driving.
Oh, you can see the cars in the background.
Oh yeah, you can see them too, but
He probably was yelling at the cars as they went by too.
yeah, then they find an abandoned convenience store. The Eagles attack. My favorite thing is that Natalie, she's like picking up a bottle of wine when they attack, and when they attack, she puts it down. It's like, I'd be like grabbing all the alcohol I could.
Mhm.
It's one of my dad's friends. He's a prepper.
Oh.
He says after the apocalypse, the currency will be alcohol and cigarettes and bullets.
He is very
He is
wrong.
absolutely correct.
I disagree.
You disagree about what?
That alcohol and cigarettes will be the currency, because alcohol and cigarettes are luxury goods. Canned goods
I think.
I'd say canned goods and bottled water would be the currency.
Well, if there's no money,
Well,
luxury
moonshine
item is essentially
like-
money.
You could use it as fuel too, like and alcohol for sterilization. Like
That's true.
alcohol is more practical.
I don't think you can use wine to sterilize something, though.
It
Yeah, not
sterilizes my
wine.
pain in my heart.
It's true.
Yeah, cigarettes, yeah, maybe less so.
Yeah, people don't really smoke cigarettes as much
Yeah, if
anymore.
you got some Juul pods or some like. Now I know what to stockpile.
Yeah. Even though they're very fuel conscious in this movie, they seem to have an unlimited supply of bullets, and they just fire the gun constantly as they drive away, being attacked by the Eagles. Then they decide to the food they just looted. They decide to eat it out in the open in some field.
Yeah, have a picnic. And
Yeah, they have a picnic.
They eat in complete silence.
It is very strange.
But you
And there's this old man who tells them to go away because there's some dead birds that are infected with the bird flu virus.
Dr. John.
Dr. John.
And then Rod's like, oh, calm down. Let's talk about it near the picnic area. And then Rod goes, don't you know the birds are attacking people? And he says, no way, they're dead from the bird flu virus. And then he goes on like this minute-long rant about how global warming's bad.
Yeah.
And he says, I don't need your protection. I have my truck and my trailer. It's humans who are the really dangerous animal. But they're, what am I thinking of? Boa? We're like giant birds, giant flightless birds that lived in New Zealand. I don't know if they ate people though.
They were aggressive though.
Yeah, they were 12-foot tall, basically ostrich.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, they lived there until the humans came, and then the humans killed them all.
Really? I feel like at least they gave them a run for their money though. Here's on a side note. I'll have to like send you guys a link to this, but it told me about this. But in Australia or New Zealand, there was like an ostrich emu war.
Australia, yeah.
That's Australia, yeah.
And like the ostriches, they won. This conflict, like the people had this farm, like there was like this big drought, and these ostriches came in and took over the whole town, and like actually like, slashed their tires of the people and like ruined like their ammo. Like they were smart. They got them in the middle of the night, and like the people had to move out of the town, and like there's still like this area fenced in. It's like this abandoned town that's just overrun with ostriches, and they just never went any further.
The Australian military actually tried to fight off the ostriches with like chain guns, but it takes so many fucking bullets to put down an ostrich apparently. Now or emus, whatever, they're still finding emus that have died of old age with like 30 bullets in them.
Insane.
Yeah, I've been to, I mean, in this case it was emus, which are smaller than ostriches, but I've been to ostrich farms before. And it's pretty unnerving. They're very large animals, and they can move very quickly. Very intimidating.
I just got word from the person that told me about the ostrich thing. It was an emu, not an ostrich.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, ostriches are native to Africa and emus to Australia.
Never forgot.
But Australia is such a funny country.
Well, yeah, because like they imported a lot of things. They imported prisoners there. They imported all sorts of craziness.
Never forget the emu wars.
Yeah, along with the emu.
So after the picnic, the group moves on. After this riveting news about the bird flu virus and global warming, one of the girls, I don't know her name, she was taking a shit in a bush and got killed by a bird.
Yeah, Rod goes, where's your girlfriend? And he goes, she's taking a shit.
I think this is my favorite scene of the whole movie.
And then
for a creative kill.
Yeah, and then Rod goes, why aren't you in the Marines anymore? He's like, I was tired of all the fucking killing. Why can't we just give peace a chance? And then his girlfriend is taking a shit. Yeah, his girlfriend's taking a shit, and then an eagle comes and just slices her throat open and flies away.
Oh my god. She's dead.
The eagles killed Becky! And he just goes after shooting them. And then this is where they come across the previously mentioned bus full of people. Yeah, and the people, they shoot all the birds. They just shoot at the bus, and the birds are like in front of the bus with not a care in the world, like not trying to hit the people inside. And we actually don't shoot any of them. And then he goes inside and he pulls the people out, and they're like, "No, please, we're safe in here." And he's like, "No, you're coming with me." And then as soon as they all come out, it's hard to tell. I think the birds shit toxic waste on them,
like acid,
and they all just die.
Yeah. Owls, they vomit their stuff up, like they regurgitate like pellets.
I think it's meant to be shit. It's like birds
It's like alien blood. The
It
birds.
was like
Yeah, it just-
color, that's the thing. It looked very toxic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and he goes, for Becky. No, he goes, they killed Becky. And then they go to a store. Oh yeah, that gun guy's dead. So now it's just Rod, Natalie, and the two kids. Then they go to the store, and the Rod goes to the gas station attendant. He goes, the Eagles just killed our friend. Can we have a phone to call the police? And then I genuinely cannot understand what the guy says between the terrible audio,
He said
his
no
terrible
calling
acting,
because of the eagle
and his thick accents.
What did he
That's
say?
your
What did he say?
I cannot understand them.
I think he said the phones were down because of the eagle attack.
Yeah, something like that.
I couldn't. Well, I don't know. And then Rod says, "Can I have some gas?" And he goes, "Oh, it's $100 per gallon."
Because of
He
the
goes-
eagles.
Yeah. He's like, "Okay, fine." And he pays $100 per gallon. And then they're driving, and they stop to help someone on the side of the road. It's a fat cowboy. He pulls out a gun and says, "Give me all your gas." And they're like, okay. And then he immediately siphons all the gas out of their car.
So he said he
Into
had
a-
a spare tank in the back.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I was
Okay,
wondering
fine.
where did he get that spare tank too? Because he never filled. Because earlier it's like when the birds attack, he was like, "Oh shit!" and he just went in the car and just drove off from the gas.
like, obviously the gun guy was a doomsday prepper, and he was preparing for something. He knew what was happening before.
And he was getting ready to shoot up a school.
He had like a pet parrot when he was a kid, and the parrot warned him. Yeah, and then as he's slowly walking away, another eagle comes and slices his throat open, and he dies immediately.
They
And then
slit
they-
the highway robber's throat.
Yeah. And then they just drive off without the gas and the gun, just there on the ground.
Hey man,
And it's
there are
not like
birds
they
out
didn't-
there.
Yeah, it's not like they didn't have like a scene of them picking it up. It's in the shot as they drive away. Next, they drive to the redwood forest, and they find this weird hippie in the woods that lives in the trees.
Gives another speech about global warming.
Yeah, and he says they're safe here because the eagles only attack things that cause pollution, like cars and gas stations. And he goes into a rant about the barkwood beetles.
Now, see, this makes me feel like this would have been like a really good if this was like a high school film project for like your science class. Like this is everyone has to have their segment and stuff. So you had Dr. John talking about the bird segment, and you have this guy right here talking about his beetles, and then you had like the lady talking about the polar bears on her TV report. Like these is everyone's required segment. They had to film themselves and then stitch together for the movie and stuff.
I love that.
Yeah, you're right. It reminds me of something I would have made for school.
I would have given that an A, 100% if I was the teacher grading this.
If I saw how much copy and pasting of birds that this person put into it, I would give it an immediate 100% for all the effort put in.
Yeah.
All the control V's.
Yeah. I'd also give him $20 for a new keyboard.
And then as he's going on this barkwood beetle rant, there's a shitty ADR roar, and he goes, "Oh no, that's a mountain lion. I have to go."
Now, I don't know if you guys have ever heard a mountain lion before.
Yeah.
The mountain lions sound like women screaming. So that was not a mountain lion. I don't know what the fuck that was.
He probably just Googled royalty-free roar sound effect.
I think he made
Pick
it
the-
himself, maybe. Like, it just distorted it. Like, that's someone's a I've never heard a mountain lion, but says, make a mountain lion noise.
I like to imagine he got into character, so he put on a full cat outfit, recorded himself roaring.
It wasn't in the budget for the cat outfit, but luckily he already had one.
And then while they're walking away, it suddenly becomes a forest fire.
Well, it is California.
Yeah.
Give him that.
And it's it's the most pathetic looking special effects fire I've ever seen. It's on level with the birds.
As
It's just
someone that just experienced the forest fire, I could.
Yeah, it's CG gifs of fire, copy and pasted over them in the forest. Yeah, then they find John and Oko in dead bodies in a car on the side of the road. Then they run out of gas.
Oh,
Didn't
Oko
they say
says,
if they lived in the lighthouse or something? Like, oh, my friend lived in the lighthouse, and like, oh wait, that's their car, and they
Yeah.
just drive up on it.
and Oko's last words are, "Forgive them."
Ooh, the birds.
I think so.
Also, I want to take this moment to mention that Natalie's mom has not been mentioned once. She does not think about her mom at all.
Yeah, I thought like
She
right
just
when the
leaves her
birds
to die.
they were gonna find her.
Yeah, she was like they clearly had like a close relationship. You think like maybe like I can't save her now. I have to worry about me, or else we'll both die. But she like doesn't even think about her.
At
A
least
shitty
said it,
daughter.
like, mentioned it.
Yeah. Yeah. Then they run out of gas. And they go, if we're lucky, someone might drive by and help us. And then as he's saying that, you can also once again hear cars in the background. And then he's just rummaging through Gun Guy's trunk, and he finds a fishing rod and a stove. The back of the fan. He's like, "Oh, I can fish."
Go get seaweed.
yeah, yeah. Natalie just collects this big like bucket of seaweed. He's like, "I have seaweed," and he finds like this like trout in the ocean.
And
they cook it in what looks like a hot pot.
Yeah.
As someone that works in the food industry, I verbally screamed like, "What the fuck?" when this scene happened.
Look, bro, it's
They
the
didn't
apocalypse.
They didn't even skin of the scales. Like it looked like he pulled like a sand pellet off, like or two, before plopping it in there.
Well,
Those kids that were just like, "I want a Happy Meal." I'm like, like that's a legit answer.
these ungrateful little shits.
He just has like a whole unscaled fish and some seaweed. No broth, but they have some, like, I guess they use seawater to cook it in. I don't fucking know.
Those kids were smart because they would have died if they ate that or gotten dysentery.
Yeah.
The scales taste like pain.
Yeah, and then the eagles show up, and then they hide in their car, and the eagles leave, and they watch them leave, and the birds fly off into horizon, and the movie ends.
I feel bad. I feel like this is the hardest scene for the actors too, because like
They just didn't stand there.
Full credit, yeah, they have to stand there, and those kids, they better like just don't want to be there.
So
I don't think they were. Do you think the kids were paid for the thing, or was it like their parents were like, "You have to do this for my friend. He's down. Really need to do this."
I mean, the law, according to the SAG, is if you have a speaking line, you have to be credited and paid. But I don't know if this is a SAG-approved movie, so I have no fucking clue.
So I read somewhere, I don't remember where, that the reason the birds left, just flew off into the sunset, was because they're giving humanity a second chance to fix the environment before they attack again.
And that's Birdemic 2?
I don't know. I haven't seen the second one, and I pray that I never do.
Yeah. Yeah, because at that point, Birdemic was already popular. He got in on the joke, and he tried to make more of a comedy, not a romantic thriller. It's
the same actors, or is it like a different?
It's just the same actors appear in it.
Oh, they sure, we're down for sloppy seconds.
So I would like to read you both a review that I found of this movie, if you're interested.
Okay.
This was given 10 out of 10 from 4th of July 2018, and it says, "I am a bird. Words cannot describe how greatly this movie changed my life. The year was 2014. My legs were gone, my children somewhere in Ukraine, my wife stolen from me by the government. Everything was going wrong for me. One day, I decided to rent Birdemic, Shock and Terror. The moment the movie started, my spirits lifted. Its 4-minute intro of only driving made me forget about my wife and children almost immediately. Then the first words were spoken. H-I. I'd like to pay whoever casted this because they did an amazing job. The audio quality is also the best I've ever seen. Yes, this movie has gifted me the ability to see sound. Continuing. Every word that was spoken inspired me as a person. I also learned in detail how to use a gun, which I now find very helpful. Immediately after the movie ended, I heard a knock at my door. My legs had returned to me, kicking the door down and attaching themselves to my waist. With this first amazing thing that happened to me, I had the motivation to fix everything. I flew to the White House, killing the president immediately with my bird-like stare. I grabbed my wife from the clutches of his arms and lifted her into the air with my newly grown wings, holding her with my feet. The children were next. We soon arrived in Ukraine. My children screamed when they saw me. There were tears in their eyes, and they were backing away from shock. They missed me so dearly. I grabbed both and put them in my pelican-like beak and began flying home. Birdemic, shock and terror is the reason I am still alive. 94 out of 105 people found this review helpful.
Oh,
Wow.
I want the
At
right-
first, I thought that was going to be just written by the director. I wouldn't put it past him.
That was too well written.
Yeah, I read that and
Yeah.
I knew it had to be shared.
Damn.
Speaking of pelicans, pelicans are underratedly horrifying.
Fuck pelicans. I hate pelicans. They're the worst bird. You ever go, like, fishing in the ocean?
Yes, but I did not interact with the pelican.
Well, in some places, pelicans follow fishing boats out to the ocean. So when you catch a fish and it comes to the surface, the pelican just eats the fucking fish, hook, line, and everything. So you have to either reel in a pelican or cut the line. And it happens every single time you catch a fish because there are dozens of them and they never get fucking full.
There's this one video, it's terrifying to me, and it's a pelican, which they're pretty big birds, just walking next to a pigeon and walks up to the pigeon and then just eats the pigeon whole.
Yep.
And there's another one where the pelican opens its mouth and then pulls its head back, and then its neck is pressing through, like underneath its like pouch, up to its mouth.
Ew.
And it's disgusting. I know, it's disgusting.
Did you guys both see the original Jumanji with Robin Williams?
Yes.
Of course.
Remember that whole scene where like they are trying to get the board game back from a pelican?
Yeah,
Stuff.
and they go on the river and stuff.
Yeah, that was crazy. That pelican was an ass.
Yeah, damn. Fuck pelicans.
Something interesting I learned about crows recently.
Please.
What?
Like, well, I have a lot of crows out here in Portland instead of pigeons. There's crows, and apparently crows, they're smart and they talk to the other crows. They're very social. If you're like a dick to a crow, they will tell all the other crows that you were an asshole to them, and then they will all know the fuck with you or be like shit on your car or something.
Yes, but you can also make peace offerings to the crows, and they will
Mhm.
forgive you.
Yeah, I just watched this video, and this guy, he has trained crows to find discarded bottle caps, take them to this like little feeder, and when they put it in a bottle cap, they get food. So he's trained them to pick up trash for him.
Huh.
I was like, damn. Yeah, crows are scary smart.
I think they have the same intelligence as a 3 or 4-year-old.
Yeah, that's what the video said.
Those kids can really mess your house up.
I'm sure a bunch of crows could mess your house up too.
Oh, yeah.
You guys ever watch China, Illinois?
Yeah, I love China, Illinois.
Do you ever see the episode when they start teaching crows to be professors and they become professors?
No.
Yeah, the dean he learns about crows being smart, so he starts training them to do puzzles, but then he's like, fuck this, I'm gonna teach them to like teach classes and stuff, make professors, so I can just pay them in bird feed. Hires all the teachers just for a bunch of crows. It's a great episode.
Yeah, I think if humans get wiped out, I think crows will become the next intelligent species.
Yeah?
It's gonna be crows, dolphin, and octopus.
No, octopus, like, the problem with octopi is that they have very short lifespans. They only live like 2 years.
Should also,
Yeah,
It'd be very hard to,
right afterwards.
yeah, to build a society if you only have a lifespan of 2 years.
it depends on how much you get it on.
Also, another thing about them is on a genetic level, the thing it makes them the camouflage, it kind of stunted their genetic progress. Like they can't really evolve anymore or something.
Hmm.
Oh, that's
They're-
interesting.
Like their cells are already so complex, like they can't really like go
Change.
do anything more. Yeah, it's like they kind of at the end of like you was trying to level up a skill tree. It's like they max out the skill tree of their like evolution.
Yeah, dolphins are just. Oh,
Assholes.
not dolphins, because dolphins love to rape, as we all know.
Yes, dolphins are major assholes. They're the only animal that kills for sport, and they're one
Well,
of.
not the only animal.
Oh, true.
As said in the movie, the most dangerous animal is man.
I know dolphins and ducks just love raping each other
Yeah, and dolphins. But another thing dolphins do is they get high too.
from pufferfish.
Yeah, from pufferfish.
They also like tearing the heads off of fish and using them as a fleshlight.
And also, blowhole fucking.
That's a thing?
Yeah, that's the thing.
What? Dude.
Ducks have detachable penises for duck rape and stuff.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we talked about this last week.
We did talk about duck rape
So you
last
talked
week.
about this last week on the podcast?
Yeah, we talked about duck rape. But we didn't talk
yeah,
about dolphin STDs. Dolphins
Do
are
dolphins have
Yeah,
STDs?
dolphins are ripe with STDs. Same with
Oh my
koalas.
God.
Koalas have
I knew koalas.
super chlamydia, and
Dude,
Super chlamydia.
I went to SeaWorld and like swam with dolphins. I feel disgusting now.
Well, you should have, because SeaWorld's terrible, but
Yeah, well, I feel like now double on top. Yeah, it makes it more terrible. They have CD rapey dolphins
well,
that you just let kids swim around with.
that'd be hard to explain how you got oral herpes from a dolphin.
no, it's SeaWorld, I swear. Yeah, I knew koalas had super chlamydia, but another interesting thing about koalas is that, you know the term, like when you call someone dumb, you call them a smooth brain?
Yeah.
Koalas literally have smooth brains.
If
They're incredibly dumb, too.
if you stick a koala in a room with eucalyptus leaves, they will not eat them because they only recognize the leaves as food if they're attached to a branch.
Yeah, they're an incredibly stupid animal. They also have, like, little, like, slit eyes, too.
And they have fucking claws. They attack people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rock bears.
No, are they really the rats more?
No. I've been to Australia, and they're not that common. The closest thing to, like, what you're thinking of is, like, kangaroos are kind of like the equivalent to deer.
No, but I'm saying like genetically, what are the koala bears aren't?
Or, they're marsupials.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they're rats essentially.
No, rats are rodents.
Marsupials carry their young in pouches like kangaroos.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
Not like kangaroos. Kangaroos are marsupial.
Speaking of classification, what the fuck is with the platypus? It's a mammal that lays eggs, has a beak, and poison claws.
It's a monotreme. It's a primitive type of mammal. Like, you know, like how mammals evolved from reptiles into mammals?
Right.
So this monotremes were a primitive form of mammal. But they still lay eggs.
Are they the only monotreme, or are there?
No, echidnas are also
So
monotremes.
you're telling me that I bet somewhere out there there's fan fiction of Knuckles just laying a huge fucking egg.
Oh, I hope so. Also, fun fact about echidnas, their penis has 4 heads.
Sounds like they just.
Are pangolins also?
No.
then?
I think pangolins are related to armadillos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're a little different though.
Yeah, they're not monotremes.
I feel like we just kind of really skipped over the fact that echidnas have 4-headed dicks.
Yeah, I was hoping we'd get more out of that.
Yeah, I mean, why
We can
4
go
heads?
back
Do they
now.
just? Yeah, let's rewind a little bit. 1, what the fuck? And 2, why do they need 4 heads? Did they just have really bad aim?
I don't know. I looked this up like in 8th grade. I remember seeing a picture of it, and I was like, "Oh, that's weird looking."
It's a weird looking quad cock on Knuckles there. I wonder. If
I think I did it at school too.
I got suspended from school in the 2nd grade because I looked up some Greek art, and oh no, some Greek statues had a penis on them. And
Are you kidding me?
The teacher walked behind me and saw that I was looking at like Greek art, saw a dick on a Greek statue, and I was suspended for 3 days.
Hey, how did she zoom it? Like, did she just were you like zoomed in on the dick or something?
No, I was
or...
scrolling through like Google Images, and like she saw one of the 5x5 whatever thumbnails, and she said, "Click
Wow.
that." I said,
What a
"Okay."
bitch.
I clicked it, and she said, "You
Art.
just brought up pornography in school, and you're suspended."
One time I had an emergency like teacher meeting because I got in trouble. Like one of the things I got in trouble for is one of the forums I went onto for April Fool's Day. They changed all the text in the forum just to the word Jews. And they're like, he's been visiting some anti-Semitic websites. I was like,
you did this?
Yeah, I did. This was like in 9th grade.
Oh, I thought this was you at your job right now.
No.
Oh,
Like he's been visiting some anti-Semitic websites, and I'm like, I'm fucking Jewish. and bless my history teacher. She was like, "Oh, we're learning about the Holocaust, so that might be why." I'm like, "No, I know exactly what they're talking about."
What about you? Have you ever been in trouble with school?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, there was this one time I kind of just like low key cheated on midterms. I wasn't really thinking about it or something.
How did you cheat?
So I was like using the you know, like on the old Macs, how they have like the dashboard button, and you go to that weird little dashboard thing.
Yeah.
I was using one of the school's computers for like doing the tests because like they let me write them out and stuff, and I was just checking like the spelling of presidents or something. And I just used the dashboard thing. I just Googled, and it just opened up a small web browser in it, and it let me bypass like how they on the laptop that had no like web browsers or anything. So I'm just in dashboard using the web browser I'm literally just using it to just like check spelling. I'm not really even trying to cheat. If it, like, they just had to give me like a C on the test because of me doing that and stuff. I was like, I didn't really count it as cheating. I'm like, hey, I found a way around your shitty little system, and they had me like they pulled me out of the room and then said, like, you're taking the test on this new computer now, and they gave me this really old MacBook that was like even older and shittier that had no dashboard on it.
The principal, we all went to the same high school. The principal would monitor our internet usage while we were at school. And I know this because I would finish my assignments during like break, and I'd look up like computer parts, and he would kick down the door and say, "How many times do I have to tell you to stop looking at computer parts?"
One time I cheated on a class on a test in history because I just said, "Can I go to the bathroom?" And then I looked up the answers on my phone in the bathroom and I came back. I was like, "Why did I not think of this sooner?" I did that senior year.
Dude, I have the ultimate not cheating but cheating story. You ready for this?
Let's hear it.
So, I was taking SATs or whatever to get into college, the GMAT. And you're supposed to take it twice. So, I went in the first time completely blind, just to see what it was like and what I needed to work on. And obviously I got a horrible score. So every day for the next 2 months I spent 3 hours during the summer studying for this test. And the day finally came. So I went to the facility, I took the math section, I took the difficult sections. All I had left was English, which is just spelling. So I got a break, and I went outside, had a little snack, and you're given 10-minute break. If you go over that, then it's deducted from your time for the rest of the exam.
Oh no.
So I brought my phone out with me and checked the time. Once my 10 minutes were up, I went back, put my phone in the locker, and the secretary looked at me and said, "Did you just put your phone in your locker?" I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Okay, we're canceling your exam scores because you probably cheated while you were out."
Oh God.
So my my much better score was completely invalidated.
You can only take it twice?
No, that was you can take it more than that, but I didn't have time to do it before the deadline for when it needed to be submitted. So I got a bad score.
Damn.
Yeah. Well, it worked out for you.
Yeah, I guess so.
Living a life like Rod. What? You're an accountant on sales, whatever.
Yeah, if I was sales, I would do a front flip off of this 4th-story window.
You're trying to make $1 million sale and retire early. Yeah,
Oh.
that.
I bet he's being paid like 1% commission on that sale, if anything.
No, he got stock options.
Oh wow, stock options for a company that was then bought a week later, making their stock utterly worthless.
Also, solar, like, I remember when we had to do that stock game for personal finance in high school. I remember the solar power like stuff was like terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I invested all my money in Mongolian solar and then Hellenistic football prognostics, and I lost like $50 million.
Nice one.
Well, the point was there was 2 different portfolios. One to gain money and one to lose money for fun. I got second place for gain money, and then I won the lost one.
Well, at least you got that.
Yeah, it was, I forget, it was one teacher, and he's like a couple weeks in, he's like, "Can I do it?" And the teacher was like, "Sure," and then he won.
Nice.
And no,
Stonks.
stocks.
You guys see anything interesting on the internet this week? This is always my favorite segment.
Oh,
I always find something and then I forget what it was.
I saw a golf shot. Like I saw it. Like apparently, like it's a thing at Augusta National. Like, on like one of the final holes, there's this putt, or instead of like hitting it from the green, people try to skim it across the pond. And this guy got a hole in one. He skimmed the ball across the pond, and then it hit the green, and then it just did this whole like kind of J-shaped turnaround 180, and just went and got a hole in one.
Damn.
What the fuck?
He probably got some good spin on it to skip it across the water.
It was insane. Everyone was like, "What the fuck?" But it was like only during the practice day, so it doesn't really.
Aw.
It's like a thing that you do on your practice shot, like it's because it's the last hole or something.
Yeah, it was some pretty good practice.
Apparently, he actually got another hole in one during the tournament, so good for him.
Jesus.
I found out about this like sect of like New Age philosophy, and they're called Breatharians, and they're like, you don't need to eat or drink water. You can just get your energy from the sun.
Oh.
And so they just don't eat. And apparently, one of them in like the 90s, she went on like 60 Minutes to prove that she actually doesn't eat. And after 8 days, the doctor they had like doing the experiment was like, "I can't let you guys do this anymore. She's dying." And she's like, "No, I'm fine." She's slowly dying.
I've seen videos of people out in California when the sun comes up doing yoga poses to photosynthesize. I hate California. I'm glad it's a burning hellscape.
But apparently, like one of the early thinkers of the Breatharian movement is this guy, and he's like, "Yeah, the only food you need to eat is yellow food. So like omelets." He never explains why the color yellow. And then later he was caught eating McDonald's, and then he updated the tenants to include McDonald's. And he says, "The only food you need to eat is McDonald's cheeseburgers and Diet Coke." And they're like, "Why?" He's like, "Because McDonald's is a place of love and togetherness, so McDonald's is good."
That's the same thing like with Mormons. Like you're not allowed caffeine, but then now they allow Coca-Cola.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
If you're Mormon, you can't have a caffeine, but then they started allowing it in the 90s or something. Coca-Cola.
They also, I don't know if you know the origins of the humanity in Mormon theology, but you want to know why they think black people exist?
I've seen the video.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well,
Lay it on me again.
So in the beginning, there was a war between Satan and God, and then some people sided with God, and some people sided with Satan, and obviously God won. And the people who sided with Satan were cursed with dark skin, and that's why black people exist, according to Mormonism.
That's not.
And they what?
Oh my god! I just hung out with so many Mormon people in my
And,
childhood.
but then they didn't allow black people to be Mormon priests up until the 70s.
Well, that's just up to par with the rest of the United States.
There are black like Catholic priests. There's Desmond Tutu. Yeah, Desmond Tutu. E.
You know,
Oh, no, that's Anglican. That's not Catholic. Whatever.
if I had no moral compass and I just wanted to make bank, I would be a televangelist.
Oh, have you seen that video of that guy? I forget his name. He's a televangelist, and he's like, "The media said Trump lost. Ah ha 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 ha." He's like doing this really creepy fake laugh, and the whole audience is just also laughing with him.
The media said Joe Biden's president. Ha 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 ha
Yeah, I've seen a few of his things. John
He's
Oliver
like
did
a-
good coverage
yeah.
on televangelist.
He's a fucking psychopath. Yeah, I don't know how those people go to sleep at night. It's like, yeah, God wants you to give me money to buy a private jet.
They talk to themselves. They must have like a shrine, like a mirror where they talk to themselves. They say they're talking to God.
Oh,
Fine.
Like, I want to know what, like, because, like, it's, like, official now. Like, Trump lost. Like, you can, like, bitch all you want about it, but it's what happens.
mhm.
What's he going to say? Because he told them, like, God told him that Trump would win.
He won,
Obviously, so
he
is
won
God
our-
wrong?
He won our hearts.
Oh, fine.
Yeah,
Lord
he
works
won
in
in our hearts.
mysterious ways.
God's allowed to give these backsies every once in a while. That's the new revelation.
I guess the 11th commandment broke off at the bottom of the tablet there. It's like sometimes
God
gives you
crossed his
backsies.
fingers when he was you didn't see it because you weren't there. You're not immortal. He had his fingers crossed, so it didn't count. Oh, speaking of which, like another coming back to China, Illinois. Did you see the episode where God comes back down? He's like trying to redo the commandments, but he's like a beach boy.
I haven't seen that many episodes. I mostly watch the stuff they put on YouTube back in the day.
It's
I
all
should
a
watch
great-
more of the show. I really like.
it's a
I've
great
seen.
show. Yeah, but then the one professor brother Steve, he hates Beach Boys because he apparently saw the real Beach Boys when he was a kid surfing, and then he just ended up being a bunch of serial killers, and they just killed all these kids and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, guess what?
What?
We got one of our first subscribers.
Really?
Yep, Jamie Sun Woo.
Oh.
And we also got our first comment from not one of our friends. It timestamps to 20 seconds and says nicegirlschattonline.com, and it's a hyperlink. So thank you, Mark Roberts. Very cool.
Yeah, report them for spam.
No, we're making
No?
it big.
How are you doing how do we rate this? How do I give my rating for this? What's the parameters?
Let's do the
That was
cursed rating.
That was my big critique. I feel like you need to give an explanation for the viewers of how the curse rating works and how they can go around knowing what it is, so they can get their own curse ratings. Maybe leave a comment with your own curse rating. Maybe.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
How do we classify the curse rating?
I
'Cause
feel like
You know, you're the one who came up with it.
Okay, fine. Ready? Here is the canon reasoning behind the curse rating. On a scale of 1 to 10, the background of the film, how troubled was it? the content of the film, in terms of plot, how terrible was it, and the effects, practical or otherwise, how terrible were those, and average those three numbers.
Okay, well, say those
Well-
again. So background.
Background, story, effects.
Okay.
According to that rating, I think it'd be 10 on everything except background, because I think him wanting to follow his dream of becoming a Hollywood director, man,
Which I would
very
give.
admirable.
I would give it 2.
Yeah.
'Cause that's not very.
The
cursed,
rest-
That's the American.
Effects is 10 cursed.
That's some highly cursed effects, so I'd give that probably maybe.
Some 1990s GIF eagles.
Another person that did the effects too, and they like,
No, okay. So in the documentary, he told the actors he got some like really good effects guy, but later he said, I couldn't afford him, so I just did it myself.
All right. So according to my logic, a 2 to the background, a 10 for the shit story, and a 10 for the effects is 22 out of 30, which is a 7 rounded down. It's a 7 cursed, which I think
That's
is
a good
accurate.
number.
I'll give it an 8 for the story, and for the effects, it'd be a 3 for the background. So if he attempted to do something with the environment, like I said, if it was a school project, I would have given it an A.
So that's a 6 curse.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah. Yeah, I like what you using your logic. 7 seems to be good.
Okay, so that's a pretty resounding average of like 6.6.
Repeating.
Mm-hmm. Which I think is fairly accurate.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on here. I hope you had a good time.
Been great. I'm honored to be the first guest.
I probably should have mentioned this to you the second we started, but your microphone is very quiet.
Oh, I wish you told me that, because I would have gotten a different microphone. I had a backup.
Well, I'll see what I can do when I smash my head against the keyboard to churn out these abominations. All right. Episode 11.
Episode 11.
Dolphin
Yeah, this is
STDs
episode 11.
and a lot of birds.
Yeah. I'm very upset my favorite Instagram cat died.
Oh no.
What cat was that?
It was the Sphinx that didn't have any eyes. It just had,
he died?
he died.
No.
Yeah. I
Damn.
know.
He was a cute little reason boy.
Cute little demon cat. Looked fucking evil. Yeah, he died of he had cancer probably, and he died to the vet like 2 days ago.
Yeah. Well, there goes their source of income.
Yeah.
All right, I will
Bye.
see you guys around.
Okay. Why?
Have fun watching Pet Possession next week.
Oh, I will. I'll see you, man.
See ya. Peace.